anti-tumor, immune modulating, blood pressure lowering, just all kind of things, they say. Regular consumption of red reishi can enhance your body's immune system, improve blood circulation, help better health conditions. They're immune modulator and general tonic. Treat anxiety, high blood pressure, hepatitis, bronchitis, insomnia, and asthma. That's just some of the things. And then there's a list on here on the back that has a lot more things. Alright, and then lion's mane. Lion's mane is interesting because it's a super mushroom for the brain and nerves. Among all medicinal mushrooms listed on this site, it's the top superior mushroom for the brain and nervous system, hands down. Like any other food substance known, the mushroom has been studied for extensively effective at encouraging and introducing nerve growth factor in the brain. We consider lion's mane the perfect superfood for those who experience seizures because of its ability to elicit nerve regeneration. It can be extremely helpful for those with epilepsy or who have experienced grand mal seizures. Both thought to be a cause of nerve injury or brain affect cognitive function. But it goes on, it just has lots of antioxidants, beta-glucans, salt polysaccharides again, just all kind of things that helps to give it the benefits. Helps the digestive tract, helps depression, helps nerves again.
But how much of the mushroom would you have to ingest for that to help?
It doesn't go into that, to be honest.
Well, part of that is because it's not like a standardized, I don't know who asked the question, but the question was like, how much do you have to ingest to get those type of benefits? Oh, okay. And they're not standardized.
Yeah.
And so when you're collecting them in the woods, because they grow native here in the south, and those might have different nutritional properties than what you have on these logs. That's really hard to determine, but it is so tasty you will eat up every bit of it. Yeah, it's very tasty.
You're saying the lion's mane is?
It's delicious. In the books they'll talk about that it tastes like lobster. That's somebody who's never had lobster, but it is very delicious.
How do you cook it?
Saute it in butter. Maybe that's why they say it tastes like lobster because it's white. But it is, and that's a nice one. You can saute it and then freeze it. I've never tried the lion's mane, but the lion's mane when I collect. This is the first time I'll ever have tried to grow it. But it's real good. You'll want more and more and more.
Yeah, pretty much. My mom has a health food store in Prattville, Alabama, and for years we've sold mushrooms mostly as an immune system support, and also they just have the beta-glucans and the polysaccharides. Those are things that just help with so many benefits of so many things. You just have to go look them up. I can't even begin to tell you all the different things they help with. But they're just very beneficial, and they taste better than anything you're going to get in the store. I mean, you can go to Whole Foods and you can buy shiitakes, or you can buy them in a lot of grocery stores, and they're just, for the price you pay, it's not worth it compared to you growing them yourself. So that's about it. That's the summer. And then, well, hold on. Then I have a paper here. I'll tell later whenever they want me to on how to care for your logs, how to take care of them.
Yeah, that would be a good takeaway. If you're taking logs home today, you'll want to know how to do that.
And we can upload
Very
that
important.
to the
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Yeah.
And any of these, I didn't have paper and or ink resources at our health food store to print more than 20 a piece. But any of them, you can see it has the website on here, of course, on the paper. And then plus, let me tell you, there's so many sites. All you have to do is just go to Google and start typing in. You'll find loads and loads of websites.
All right, Jamie, you want to share something?
Oh yeah.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming. So, building on what Thad was saying, of the 3 mushrooms we're going to inoculate today, 2 of them are native here. So, even if you don't have success growing them, you can go out in some hardwood forests and find them. The lion's mane usually grows up pretty high in the crotches of trees, so when you're walking around nice towns with established hardwoods, you should always keep your eye up, especially this time of year with this kind of weather, because you never know when you might see one. We actually picked one off of the Auburn University campus about 4 years ago, off right in front of the library. And we had to get a very long ladder to get to it. I can't remember how long it was, but the mushroom was like this big, and they actually took it and cut half and cooked it and just flash froze other half, and then a couple weeks later they took out the other half, and they said it was just fine. They prepared it a little bit differently since it had been frozen. You can imagine it would lose a little bit of its texture or whatnot, but it was still very good. So, to speak of marketing these, I guess first I should tell you there's obviously no money in trying to do this commercially, because by the time you have enough logs to make money, you've either broken your back or you're paying other people to break their backs moving them. So don't even try to go that route. If you want to do it commercially, you should do it on sawdust. Obviously, like Thad was saying, the quality of the mushroom is going to decrease drastically, but your quantities will go up and you can make money off of it. If you're wanting to do this for medicinal reasons or for quality of the foods that you're eating, this is the way to go. The harder the wood, i.e. oak, sweet gum being the softest, oak being a little harder, hickory being super hard. I think they make baseball bats out of hickory maybe, or somebody used to carry a hickory stick. Anyway, the longer the log will last, and as well often, to me, I can speak to this in my personal opinion, the harder the wood, the tastier the mushroom. For whatever reason, maybe there's just more goodness in there to get into the flavors and the flavonoids and things in the mushroom. Thad touched on making tinctures. The reishi is great for tinctures. So if you did have extra and you wanted to share it with your community, or if you wanted to market it, you can always direct market this stuff straight on to person one-to-one, or you can go to a farmer's market and you can sell it. There's nominal things that you have to do to be able to do that. So if you wanted to make tinctures with rishis, there's plenty of recipes to do it. Something else that's pretty nifty are, you've seen these little herb sachets that they'll sell at various markets. They may have different spices in a little sack, and you can toss it in your stew or your soup and cook it, and then when you're done, you pull the sack out. All the flavors are in there, but none of the gritty bits and things. So you can do that with reishi.
Jamie, let me add one more thing I just forgot that was important about the health benefits. Is that actually, believe it or not, they've done studies and shown that mushrooms, when they're alive, of course, and they're not rotting away, they will absorb vitamin D, or the pre-vitamin, from the sun. You can take flats of mushrooms, even store-bought mushrooms, lay them out in the sun, and they'll supercharge and they'll get more vitamin D, so that when you eat it, you'll get more of that pre-vitamin for your liver to convert over to vitamin D3. So you can even, if you have some light logs or something, and some are real heavily fruited, you can pick the whole log up, put it in the sun for a little while, or you can just cut all your mushrooms off and then put them on a tray and put them in the sun for a little while. That's another thing that's amazing about the mushroom.
Vitamin D3 is important in case you guys aren't up to date on vitamin D. Since we do a lot of computer work inside now, we don't get as much as we used to. What they're finding is when your D levels drop, your chances of getting cancer go up greatly. So if you can keep your D level up, they've got an analytical system.
Yeah, in our health food store, they say now in the health industry that if you don't take any one supplement beside your vitamin, you should take vitamin D supplement, because so many people are so deficient. And that's because, something I'll leave you with that we always talk to people at health food store just real shortly, is we are creatures that need sun baths. I mean, when I say baths, preferably as naked as possible. There's a gland between your legs that requires sunlight exposure, and no one does that. And that's the reason why our reproductive systems aren't as strong. There's so many lists goes on and on and on. And you're actually, the more alkaline you are and not as acidic, you won't get sunburn as bad. That's the only thing that makes us get skin cancers, is because we already have so many acids flowing through our system that the sun burns those acids that are in our skin tissue. But the more you're used to the sun, the more healthy alkaline fruits and vegetables you eat, you can be out in the sun all day gardening and you don't have to wear sunscreen. There's a higher chance of getting cancer from sunscreen or sunblock than the actual sun itself.
So, speaking of using our foods as medicine, if you do harvest the reishi, reishi is very good for helping with tumors and things. This is turmeric. It grows really awesome in Alabama. It's hard to find it. Don't go online and try to find it to buy it. Go to an Asian market, go to Whole Foods, go to somewhere that you would buy it to cook with. Make sure that it's organic if possible. If it's an Asian market, you got a 50-50 shot that it's fine. They'll spray it with stuff that keeps it from being able to not germinate, but for it to break bud.
Same thing they'll do with your potatoes. Me and Miss Kaylee bought some potatoes one time from Sam's or Costco, one of them, and they would not sprout. I mean, they were just horrible. So preferably, organic potatoes are the best potatoes you can buy. And we even bought some at Walmart now. You can find organic potatoes everywhere now. You just have to look for them. They're just a little more expensive.
So this turmeric is excellent for anti-inflammatory. It's been shown that if you have bronchial issues, lung issues of any sort, this stuff is awesome because what it does is it breaks loose all that mucus that's in your alveoli. Now, what I like to do is if you mix it with the reishi has antioxidants in it. Basically all foods, all fresh, natural foods have antioxidants, so as long as you're eating something that was living and not heavily processed, you're probably going to get them. I say this for this reason. When you mix the turmeric and the reishi, let's say you have the flu or you've got a bad cough, you've got emphysema even, COPD, that's another big one folks get. You take this stuff, the turmeric handles inflammation and it helps knock that stuff loose. It's like an expector. Well, then the antioxidants grab hold of it. It's called a chelator. It's like a crab and it'll grab onto all those nasty, they're called free radicals, and it allows you to get them out of your body
It also
efficiently.
reduces oxidative stress.
Yes, but you and I'll go over there and talk about that later. But so point being, these two things, either you can go out in the woods, you can pick them, you can grow them yourself, and you got your own medicine. And if you start today, then in 20 years you won't even have to, have a conversation about having lung issues because it's not an issue.
And the only thing I can add about the turmeric and ginger both is if you grow them in this country or this part of the state or either farther up north, just mulch it real heavy during the winter time because the roots can't get frost. If they get frozen, then it kills the plant. So that's the only way you can grow it outside. But no, remember, the antioxidants live in the plant kingdom anywhere you see color, natural pigment in any fruit or vegetable. That's why turmeric is so powerful. That pigment, that part that'll stain your clothes, that's the health property. So think anything that stain your clothes, raspberry, blueberry, blackberry, black cherry, anything like that. That's our number one seller in the health food store for arthritis is black cherry juice because it helps so well with relieving inflammation and pain fast, because it's a juice. But yeah, ginger and turmeric are brother and sister, or yin and yang, as the Chinese say. One's cooling, one's warming, and they're both very good for breaking up mucus. Oh man, the list goes. The Chinese say it's easier to tell you what they don't do than what they do.
I just wanted to show you this quickly because we picked these. This was harvested about 2 days ago. You can see that super orange color out on the outside of it. I harvested this about 3 weeks ago, and if I cracked it open, it'd be this orange on the inside, if not oranger. This is called a mother. You'll never see this at a grocery store, but this is the part that's talking about you want to either mulch it heavy or keep it in the ground. It grows these little fingers off of it. This is what you either use to cook with, or you can actually break your fingers apart and grow more of these. So, and as a side note, if you have nematode issues, which is a huge issue, if you've got sandy soil and you're in Alabama, most likely you've got nematodes. Nifty thing about these guys are they're finding the nematodes stay in these roots that look like long hair. So if you take these roots off, you don't have nematodes in your rootstock. So you don't have to worry about sharing your nematodes with your friend's yard. Let's see. So the only mushroom that we're doing today that's not native here but could easily naturalize is the shiitake. Thad touched on the vitamin D aspect. The shiitake is probably the most economically valuable mushroom of these, just because there's a large culinary market for it. The reishi, when you grow it, super hard. You're gonna have to use a cheese grater or even a coffee grinder to grate this stuff up.
It's very hard.
But the other two are very culinary, and a lot of people are familiar with the shiitake. This particular strain was developed in South Carolina, and it had, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but a gentleman up there, Trad Cotter, has been growing shiitakes up there for some years now, probably 12 or 15 years, and this happened to escape from his store-bought strains, and it kind of naturalized out on his property. And so he collected it and started growing it out and offers it. And a buddy of mine inoculated some logs with these the first week of December in South Alabama. 3 weeks later, he shot us a picture of the mycelium running on it. And to me, it looked like 4 months worth of growth on it. These mushrooms should be able to, top range is like 100,
I think it was 85 to 105.
85 to 105. It's great for our crazy, hot, droughty summers. As long as you can keep these logs moist, then you should be good.
Yeah, they say that's the fastest way you kill your logs, or kill the mycelium, is let them dry out.
So I'm going to turn it over to Linda. If you guys want to talk marketing on any other aspect, feel free to ding me separate, but Linda is going to get us into the nitty gritty now.
All right. So, was anybody here? Did anybody come last year? Is this everybody's first time to do mushrooms? All right. Let me ask it this way: has anybody done this before? Okay. Yes. All right. So, like I said, we've got 3 different mushrooms. I started doing this, I don't know, 2000. No, gosh, it had to have been early 2000s, late 90s. And I was unsuccessful over and over and over again, and mainly because of what they said, they dry out. You would think our summertime humidity would keep them moist, but that's not the case. For my logs, I even set up a timer on my spigot, so they get 4 days a week, they get like 10 minutes of water, and I don't have to think about it. So that's part of the care. That's the main care is keep making sure that these are going to stay shady. I even have a cloth that I put over my logs for the summertime to keep them from drying out. But that once I figured out how to keep the logs moist, then I was able to be successful. And shiitakes are a wonderful way to have a healthy food product in your yard. And it's a pretty easy process what we're going to do. All of these trees are from our local area. We've got sweet gum, we've got oak, and we've got hickory. And hickory obviously is going to be the hardest wood. We're going to put the shiitakes on the hickory and maybe some of the oaks. The first thing that we're going to do today are the lion's mane, and we're using sweet gum. It's a pretty easy process. There is a template, and what you do, so we're going to drill holes where there are a dot. There's a hole that will be drilled right there, and that hole has to be a certain depth. And some of these drill bits have a ring around it to stop it at a certain depth, because we've got 2 different plugs. So the first set of people, we're going to have somebody that comes through that is marking the log. That will be the first step. You're going to roll it down. Somebody's going to come through and drill to that specific depth. And then the next part of the assembly line is putting the spawn in that hole. It has to be a certain depth, because when you put this, you know how you've done that? Have you ever done that with a straw? Like you poke it in something and it goes, whatever it is, the ice or whatever it is, and you jump on the ice. Well, you're going to poke this into the sawdust spawn, and it takes out a plug. After somebody has drilled the hole, you're going to press the button down, and it puts the spawn into that hole. Then the last process, as it rolls on down, is going to be, you've got to now seal it. So again, like we said, we don't want these things to dry out. So we've got, Chris has got set up wax, melted wax in these crock pots, and the paintbrushes are here. So what you're going to do is you're going to, for every place, so whoever's in charge, so for those of you who are working, for those who is in charge of the wax, you're going to dip the paintbrush into the wax and paint it over every single plug that was put in there. Because if it dries out, then it dies. The reason why we're doing this, actually Chris ordered a beautiful day to do this. The temperature's perfect, but the timing is everything. The trees have not quite budded out yet. So all winter long, so once the fall, the leaves drop off, the sugars go down and are stored into the roots of the tree. Well, as spring comes on, the daylight starts to lengthen, the terminal buds up on the branches signal, they turn on a hormone, and that signals to the roots. It's like, all right, let's start pumping sugars back up to the branches so that we can do photosynthesis. What we have done is we have timed it to catch the sugars in the trunk of the tree. So if you do this on your own, it is very particular. You can do it in the fall. I'm just not good at timing when the sugar is in the trunk of the tree. In late winter in Alabama, it's like, okay, I mean, I'm even starting to get pollen on my windshield now. So we cut these 2 weeks ago. You want to let some of the, I don't know the scientific word. What is it?
It's an enzyme.
Yeah, the enzyme that's in there to relax. So when we put the spawn in there, it's got all that good sugar to feed off of, and that's what will make the mycelium run throughout the tree. That's the actual body of the mushroom, is the mycelium. So we put the spawn in there. It's got all those good sugars. The mycelium is going to run throughout the log, and then hopefully this summer, if you've kept your logs nice and moist, you will have shiitakes this summer. This is a new strain for me. This is something new that Chris and Jamie taught me. I've been ordering the kind that fruit in the spring and the fall. If you're not getting fruiting, the easiest thing to do is to shock them. And so by shocking it, you can soak your log in water, or you can pick it up and drop it. And once you pick it up, you dropped it, put it back wherever you have it. And with rain, it will pop out. Be careful, don't shock all of your logs at one time. My dehydrator can only hold so many, and I accidentally shocked. I stacked mine up in a log cabin, and so I accidentally had too many mushrooms to deal with. So the mushroom is not the body of the mushroom is not the body of the fungus. The mushroom is actually, that's like fruit, like you're eating an apple or something like that. Hydration is important. The other thing that's important is not to let your logs, when you take them home, don't let them sit right on the ground. I mean, you can, but you take a greater chance of other things in the ground getting up into your log. I keep mine up on concrete blocks. You can use pallets, you can use concrete blocks, whatever you want. A shady side of your property. I've got mine on the side of my house where there's a big pecan tree. Yes.
Tina at Clayworks, she does this for a living. She says that they actually put them up this way.
Yeah, there's different ways. There's totem pole process for me, and that's a beautiful thing about farming, is that you can find what works best for you. We were talking about beekeeping. You can talk to 3 different beekeepers and get 5 different opinions on the best way to do something. So it is a process of finding what works best for you. I used to do the teepee style. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So I started Lincoln log, because I have several Lincoln logs. But if you've only got 3, maybe putting them in a teepee would be the best way to, because you couldn't do them. You couldn't. If you don't have at least 4, you can't do the log cabin style. So
If I could interject, if you do the teepee, from what I found, at my high point, I had about 150 logs. It was the stupidest thing I ever did. But I did them this way, because then you can just walk down the sides of them and harvest off the logs. Whereas when you do the cabin, what she means by log cabin is you do the 2, like the Lincoln logs, 2 on the ground, and then you stack 2 perpendicular, 2, 2, 2, and you go up, however high you want to. as long as it'll drain, you know, you're good.
So when you say, especially when you say wet feed, if you had them in a teepee or something like that, what you mean, like them getting wet at the very bottom?
Like don't store them. I mean, always where there's standing water all the time. But Chris, though, his experience, haven't you noticed that they fruited better when you went
Try that at home.
Yeah.
So
But it works for me.
yeah, exactly. So there's several different ways that will work for you, and so you just have to find the process that's the easiest for you to maintain them. So the square works for my sprinkler system, and I can rearrange them. And then, but however works best for you, you don't want to let them dry out. And when you want them, if it's about time to fruit, like for these, for the summertime, you shock them. Jay has just hit them on the end with a hammer. I tend to pick them up and drop them. So it's, but you need water. So if we don't have a hurricane or something to water them, you might soak them or something like that. We don't get much rain in the summertime. So.
Do they have a season? I mean, do they like 1 month of the year or 2 months or?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Mine started fruiting, the ones that we did last year, mine started fruiting maybe a month ago and they're still going. So, it depends on temperature and it depends on water. So right now, because we get rain, I've taken the cloth off because my sprinkler is set up on the city county water system, and that's got chlorine in it. So, I'd much rather have rain than have, chlorinated water.
I think we're talking about the water issue, just like this care and maintenance paper I printed out. This was actually from a Lost Creek mushroom law company that actually tells you instructions on how to do all this. I think the key is that you don't want to have too much water, but you don't want to have too little. Because it says, you know, if the mushrooms, when they're growing, if they dry out on the log, you can still pick them, but do not eat a mushroom if the bottom is dark brown or mushy. You know, so that's the thing. You just don't eat mushrooms if they're starting to rot. Same thing as you pick them in the wild. If they're already starting to turn mushy, you don't need to pick them. But Linda,
Yeah.
one thing I was going to ask you is what this said is something you might want to tell the club because we were talking about this and it's kind of a middle point again that we need to meet. It says here, talking about the bark. The bark is like your skin. It helps keep disease out and moisture in. Handle the log gently. Avoid nicks and cuts. Repair wounds with cheese wax, beeswax, milk of paraffin, or candle wax. If you live in California, you need to wax more often because sweet gum logs lose their bark easily. It says mushrooms will not grow in total darkness. They need night and day cycles and shade. Prolonged direct sunlight will kill the shiitake mycelium. So what you saying? Yeah, you need to cover over several spots, but then you also need to leave some exposed to let the log breathe.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, so again, it's different people have different opinions. I have never. So we're gonna wax over every single hole that gets drilled, and we're gonna put for every single hole. So somebody's job is going to be marking the logs. Somebody's job is gonna come along, and you're gonna be drilling. The next person's job is going to be putting the spawn inside each hole. Each hole that the spawn went in, that needs wax on it. I never wax the ends because I want the water to wick through.
Now some people up north they'll wax the ends.
Yeah.
You know, and then some people they always wax all the cuts like
Yeah.
with the
And I
branch.
think that's what Martha Hunter said she does.
We
Why do they
often wax the ends. I haven't waxed them in a while, but after the drought last summer, I would say wax the ends because it's just gonna get hotter and drier from here,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll lose a lot of moisture. We can hold what's in the log in it today.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But again, that's like you guys, you know, you have a creative right to decide what direction you want to go with.
So who waxes the crap?
I don't.
How can water get in if
I-
you do that?
See, I said. Oh, how? Oh,
Through the bark.
yeah. Because it's like it said, it's like it's a skin. So it's the water will seep through the bark. It does get loose, but I've got logs that are 7 years old that are still putting some out, and it's just right.
See, that's the thing that Linda's always told us, but then when I read these things, they say your logs will produce 3 to 4 years, but I think what they're taking into consideration is because most people, they don't do them as big as we do, because most people can't move these heavy logs around, so most people do smaller, long length, and smaller diameter logs. And so, given evidence, it's obvious that the bigger the log,
magazine called Field and Forest or Forest and Field. Anyway, it's whatever the magazine is, it's the opposite. And it's this company in Wisconsin or Minnesota, one of those two. And it's if you do Field and Forest or Forest and Field mushroom, you'll get their webpage. I don't know if we still have one of their. I didn't bring my catalog with
The
me.
catalog, I seen somebody had it out. They had it over by.
I bought it
think
from
was
them.
over there by that table where everybody's talking.
Have you ever used a freeze cloth to put over plants for the wintertime?
there it is.
It's probably something like that. It's just mine is yeah. This is the company that I've always bought from, and they've just been really nice. Field and Forest products. Great people. You can call them on the telephone. They have other customers in Alabama. So if you're
Yeah, Jason had those in the past.
Yeah.
And the sun can actually go through them. Is that what you're talking about?
the freeze cloth, yeah, that's exactly where I got my freeze cloth. So yeah, you want something that water will go through. So it is fairly breathable, but it's thick. I've had my the cloth that I bought from here. Let's see, I've been in Utah for 3 years. It's at least 5 years, and I haven't been very kind to it. And so I mean, I'll throw it off, and like here comes the rain, and it's on the ground, and it hasn't rotted.
See, the cloth she's talking about is thicker and it's a little bit more durable and it will take the UV rays better. But from our experience using ground cloth, you know, the cloth you put down to suppress weeds, you can use the same stuff, but it's not going to last as long. It'll deteriorate after so many years.
Or you can take the winter cloth and just